You disagree. So you said it's not fine, or you disagree that it's fine to ask a woman her body count on a first date. Why is that?
I just think it's a weird question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's relevant.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell you my body count because I don't care that much, like, to ever have counted it in my head and held that as something that's important to me. So.
Mm-hmm. And who else? I think a few other people circled that it's you disagree that it's fine to ask a woman her body count on a first date. Who else?
I disagree. That's very inappropriate to ask, and it's none of the men's business of what the woman does
Emily,
in her.
you also disagreed.
Yeah, does with her body, you know.
Tanya, you also
Agree.
disagreed. Who's?
Yes, baby girl.
Yeah, into the mic if you can.
That ain't none of your business.
And then Deborah, you also disagreed.
I didn't disagree. I half circled that because I think it was a little bit more nuanced. I think it's valid for people who have a hard cutoff. Like, I personally have asked people that question on a second date, a man, because like I would never even not even marry. I would never even go on a third date with somebody who had sex with more than like 50 women, 100 women, things like that.
Sure.
So I totally respect on that front, but I think the first date aspect to it is just a little strange because you don't really, I mean, maybe for you, you know, after a first date, but I think usually after a first date, you know if you like the person, but to know if that's somebody that you really want to commit to and get to know. And I think first date should be fun and light and like 2 hours, and then the second date a little bit more serious. So I just thought it was a little weird on the first date, but I think it's a valid question. And
like, I never asked my ex-boyfriend what his body count. We've been together for 6 years because it doesn't matter what he did before me, you know.
And going to you, so Emily, you also disagreed. Why do you disagree with that?
Because same, like if it happened before you, I don't think it's necessarily your business as long as you're being like safe with it. You know, if they were asking for the concern of like STDs, that's why they want to know how many people you slept with. You know, I can
What if it
get
wasn't
that.
about STDs?
Then why is it your business? You weren't part of the picture. Anything from here on out with you in the picture involves you, but
so
before you,
past
like,
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Who agrees with that? Past does not matter.
No,
Agree. So would you guys date?
I mean, it depends what kind of past you have. Like, you know, if you're like a then no, I'm not. But I was like not gonna date you.
Wait, what? But hold on. Why
If the
would
man's
that,
like if he was a previous porn star.
Yeah, what's wrong with that then?
Well, because he's been with a lot of women. I wouldn't feel safe.
So his body count?
Well, I just wouldn't feel safe with the guy who had a lot of like.
Yeah, but it's none of his business, right? Or sorry, none of your business, right?
No,
Just because you're in doesn't mean you have a high body count. There's people.
Usually,
isn't that what it
it
is?
does.
All about?
Well, I mean, like, I know people that have higher body counts than me, and they've never been in porn.
But that doesn't mean that not stars don't generally have sex with multiple people.
Let me make this really simple. Do you think comparing the average male star to the average male, who's going to have a higher body count?
Typically a star, but sometimes they're not. It's not always
Right,
that.
but that's the exception.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
So past doesn't matter. So let's say, would you want to know if a current partner ever cheated on somebody?
Oh yeah, obviously.
So their past does matter all of a sudden.
And a little bit.
I got a really good question on this. Just curious, who said past doesn't matter? It was you?
Me.
None of their business?
No, body count is not their business. But I definitely think like past exes, past relationship behaviors, like that does matter.
Yeah, I got a perfect question for you. So was it just you two who have this position?
Yeah.
Past shouldn't matter, doesn't matter?
Yeah. In some ways.
Would you date a guy who's had homosexual sex?
No.
Why not?
Because that would be kind of fruity, right?
But okay, and then would you date a man who's had sex with a man?
I want a straight man. Sorry.
Yeah, my preference is just a straight man.
No, he's straight, but he's had sex with a man before.
That means he's not straight.
Okay, fine. I'll even grant he's bisexual.
No, my preference is not a bisexual man.
Yeah, but he's met you. He's no longer dating men anymore, and he hasn't dated.
Then as long as he's not gonna go have sex with any other men.
No, but he's been
personal preference. I would not.
It still wouldn't bother you.
And he changed his mind.
Yeah,
like
he changed his mind.
I like macho men.
People who are like curious.
So like
and
a year before he dated you, he was getting plowed in the ass by another man.
No.
Okay, at least you're honest. Okay.
Yeah, my preference would be no.
No, but he's done, totally done with men.
Still no.
Yeah, I just kind of maybe like wish he hadn't told me that, because it's
Well,
like it's none of
here's
my
the truth.
business.
So he told you it. It's the truth of what happened. Would it be an issue?
Moving forward, he's completely done with it, then no.
Would it give you the ick?
Yeah.
So would you
just
even
wouldn't try to
date a
think
guy
about
like
it.
that to begin
I mean,
with?
it's like, is he thinking about me having sex with guys in the past? That would give him the ick too. Just like, don't think about that. It
But
has
that's
nothing to
more
do with
normal.
you.
No, but I don't care about him. I'm talking about you.
Yeah, I wouldn't think about it either. As long as it's never going to happen again, then I guess experiment
But
once.
it
He
still
decided
gives-
he didn't like it.
Okay. So the way that y'all feel about you being with a man who another man, that's how we feel about you guys,
Other guys.
other men.
All right, what if someone lies
Whoa.
about being closeted? Like they say they're completely straight.
But doesn't that
Bro,
make
you
you
ca-
fruity?
what?
If you like.
Sorry, repeat the question again. I'll try to engage you
I don't
on
wanna
this.
Okay,
but, I mean,
Okay,
it's just like-
for example, I dated someone for like 6 months, and they told me they were actually like I caught them in the act of sucking dick.
Oh.
Now,
Yeah.
like, what do I think? Like,
How?
I'm traumatized because I thought
be
this
done
guy
with
was
that.
straight.
Oh.
Is that
that's
count
still
as
cheating.
is that count as he slept with other men in the past,
Yeah.
or like, and I'm at fault for that, or is that his fault for not being honest?
I don't know. It's
I
not
just want a real
really-
man
it's
that
not
doesn't
really
do that
pertinent
stuff.
to the
Is that so hard to
conversation.
find nowadays?
But okay.
It sounds
and
like
then-
I need to go
so-
to therapy after this.
Me
So,
too.
Emily and Deborah, you guys said you disagree that men are the thing is men are not insecure for caring about a woman's body count. You both disagreed. Why is
I
that?
circled it.
You did circle it, Deborah.
I disagree, meaning I do think he's insecure for caring about body count.
Yeah, I think I circled that too.
Huh?
I disagree, meaning I do think it's insecure to care about body count.
Do you know what disagree means?
What was the statement?
Men are not insecure for caring about a woman's body count.
Disagreeing means men are insecure.
Yes.
Yeah, and I disagreed with that statement, meaning
Yes.
men are insecure for
That-
worrying about body count.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
That's saying men aren't. Men
He's
are
asking
not.
me
insecure.
why do you think
Oh,
that?
do you know the definition of?
She thinks men are insecure for it.
Yeah,
No, I
I
know.
disagree with the
Yes.
statement, meaning yes, men are insecure for thinking that, for being concerned about that.
Okay. Right. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, Ryan.
I guess I
So-
also circled it, but not for the same reason. I don't think insecure is the right word for it necessarily. I don't think it makes them insecure. I just think I don't know why I
I just think it
disagree
makes
with
them
that. It's
insecure.
saying I just feel like insecure is a weird word to use to describe that. I think both people, partners in a relationship, should have some level of concern at all, or they don't, that's fine, and then they would be a good match for each other. But I think it's very normal and healthy to have some concern about that for bonding, you know, because it makes it harder to bond with
All
people.
right.
But insecure is just not, I wouldn't call a man insecure for being
Okay.
concerned.
And why are men insecure if they care about a woman's body count?
Because, like I said, why is that any of your business? Like, you weren't part of the picture. Maybe if you came into my life sooner, I met the love of my life, I wouldn't have gone around sleeping with this guy, that guy.
Would you say that you don't think it's fair? Like, would it not be fair for a guy, you tell him your body count, and he, because of your body count, he doesn't want to date you? Would that be unfair?
I think that would be insecure.
Insecure. So
I don't
he's
think
not-
it's unfair because people have their preferences.
Okay, but he would be insecure.
Yeah, because why does me being with other men before you're even there like bother you so much? Are you trying to? That's
Well,
kind of
wouldn't
like,
it be a mark of security? So if the idea is that a person has boundaries and preferences, and they're
Yeah.
willing to enforce those preferences, it seems like it's the most secure thing you can do.
But you can't like base someone's behavior from when they're single, like let that
Why
affect
not?
how they would act when
Why
they're in a
not?
relationship. Because that's
Yeah,
when
why-
I'm
why can't
single.
you?
I wouldn't go sleep around with
Complete
random
different
people
people,
when
single
I'm
and
in a
not single.
relationship.
Well, I mean, actually, the best predictor for future behavior is past behavior. So I mean, this
Being
is-
single, you can
Wait,
say my
did you get
past
a-
behavior
did you
in
get a-
relationships.
Who's the psychology degree person?
Me.
Yeah, this is actually like a psychological.
But you
principle.
can't compare someone being single to them being in a relationship. They act
Oh,
totally
no,
different.
Two different
agree.
people.
I mean, I agree with this point. I don't think you're making a bad point that people can reform and all different sorts of things. I'm not even disagreeing with that. I'm only disagreeing about one point, which
What?
is the idea of insecurity. If you have boundaries on what your preferences are and you're not willing to compromise on those boundaries, doesn't that show security, not insecurity?
I feel like you should be secure with your partner, knowing that they're with you in the present moment, and moving forward, they wouldn't repeat the past.
That doesn't answer my
things that they
question.
did.
though.
But I feel like it's double standards because men get.
Let me repeat the question so I make sure that you understand the question. If you have boundaries and you enforce those boundaries, right? How is that not a sign of security?
It is insecure to be concerned over something superficial that didn't involve you and would not be repeated with this new bond that you're involved in. Why would
Well, I
you
think
let
it's
external
insecure to-
factors affect something like a whole different situation? I think it's insecure to worry about. It's kind of like, don't worry about things that are out of your control type of thing. Like, it's kind of insecure to be thinking about what they're doing when you weren't even in the picture.
Isn't it insecure to try to make a person compromise on their boundaries for your benefit?
No, because then that's just preference. If they don't need to be with me, I said I would respect if a man didn't want to be with me because of my body count.
But what would make that? But the point here is
Because why are you so worried about what I did before you? Like, why does that affect you and us presently?
Because you're enforcing your preference. You're enforcing your preference and your boundaries. And so if you enforce your preference and boundaries, that seems like it's a sign of a secure person. An insecure person would be somebody who would compromise on their own boundaries, right?
But an insecure person is someone who's even concerned about that. It's like calling a woman insecure for saying like, oh, why are you liking her photos on Instagram? But me being secure is me respecting my relationship boundaries. Like, you shouldn't be liking all these women's pictures.
Okay, well, let's test
But they're
this
going
and
to
see
call
if
me
this is true.
insecure for getting upset over them.
Is it
doing that
insecure
stuff.
to not, like, let's say that you really loved the
feel like it's
chick, you
double
thought she was
standards.
great, and then you found out she had genital herpes, and so you said, okay, I'm going to end this relationship because I don't want to be with somebody who has genital herpes. Is that insecurity?
No.
No, that's bringing a health concern into
But it happened
it.
before. It happened before, right? Had nothing to
But that
do
is
with
something
him. It
that
happened
affects your
before.
present partner. That is a health concern. But all the other hookups before, if you never caught anything, none of that affects your current partner.
And you did it safely, then it shouldn't really matter.
Yeah, sure. It's a health concern, right? But it still conflates to preference. So some people's preferences, this health concern wouldn't bother them. For other people, the health concern would bother them. They're just enforcing their preference, right? They're
Well, it's
saying,
just
"I
my
prefer-"
preference to not have my boyfriend following girls, but some people are going to say that's insecure for not letting him interact with girls.
Yeah,
on
I
social
understand
media.
that some people would say that. I'm not saying that it's an insecurity that you have boundaries, and because you have boundaries, you're willing to enforce them. That's not insecure. That seems like it's a sign of being secure. Insecure seems to me like a person who's willing to wane on their boundaries or in some way throw them out the window. That seems like a sign of insecurity.
I think insecurity is more not feeling secure enough in your relationship to not be worried about those external factors. If you were secure enough, you wouldn't be worried about who your partner was with before you or who your partner is interacting with online. If you were secure enough with all that, I think it is insecure to be worried about those superficial things that do not concern you presently.
Might I
or
jump in
future.
really quick? Do you think a man would be insecure if he didn't want to date a woman because she had a body count of 100?
No.
Wait, can you repeat that?
But what does that have to do with him?
This is
Like-
totally central to the conversation. Oh, no. Oh, wait, you were answering it. What does that have to do with him?
Yeah.
So, okay, just so we're clear, there would be no and I'll even grant you that there's no STDs involved. Somehow she's played Russian roulette with her pussy, still didn't get an STD. 1,000 men. She's been with 1,000 men before him. Still insecure.
As long as she's not still talking to those men, or nothing's gonna happen during this
10,000.
relationship.
Damn.
She's been
She
with
ran through it.
10,000 men before him.
Ran through.
Still insecure?
What is there to complain about though? Like, is her coochie loose? Is she concerned? Is it affecting
No,
your
she has
health?
no
that's
tightest
not-
pussy.
Like,
no,
exactly. What is the problem? That's just a matter
Yeah,
of like
I'll tell you. I'll explain it.
possession and trying to objectify someone and be like,
Possession.
oh, you're
You
like
literally look
worthless to
through
me.
your
You've
ex's
been
phone.
experienced by other people.
You're like stalking who he's following. You're
But that's
possessive.
present. That's present moment. But what happened before doesn't matter.
I bet you
Yeah, but
still
what
get
about
jealous
what's
of the
revolting?
chicks he used to.
Me personally,
Bro.
yes. I'm insecure. I can admit that.
okay,
but
sure.
I would admit that it's insecure for a man too.